And joining us over the phone to tell us more about the Cairo Water Week is Dr. Safwat Dayem, a professor of water resources at the National Institute for Water in Egypt. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It is my pleasure to join you, and thank you for the invitation.
So, sir, what is the significance of holding a 6th edition of the Water Week here in Cairo?
Okay, the Cairo Water Week is an annual event started in 2018 which made a platform for water stakeholders from Egypt and the region as well as from around the world to meet and discuss views, experiences, and discuss policies regarding challenges facing the water sector. It is the biggest water event in Africa and the Middle East.
Okay, sir. So, as you were saying, that this is one of the biggest forums for discussing water issues in the Middle East and in the region, basically. What do you think is the most important water issue that will be discussed during this event this year?
Okay, let me first say that the event this year comes shortly before the climate summit in EU, COP28, at the end of this year, as well as the World Water Forum in Bali, Indonesia, next year. So the sixth edition actually addressed the challenge of the climate change. It has a main theme, action on water, adaptation for sustainability, and address the issues through 5 themes, all dealing with adaptation with climate change, actions for sustainability.
Okay, sir. Could you expand more on the idea? Does water resources, or I mean, water security is dependent on combating climate change? Is this what the edition is all about?
Well, actually, climate change for the water sector mean prolonged droughts,
yes.
Floods, seawater rise, pollution of water resources, and this all action would hit hard development and be against the achieving sustainable development in every country around the world.
Okay, so sir, what do you think is the action or the actions needed in the water sector to achieve some form of sustainability, given, like you were saying, the climate events that are taking place, like droughts and floods?
Well, actually, first of all, the immediate action that we have all to observe is water use efficiency, saving water, not to waste every drop of water except for beneficial use. Then also to protect against floods. We have seen recently how heavy storms create floods that even take away a whole city or a big part of the city, as happened recently in Libya and Darana. Also, yes. Water rise. Egypt has one of the lowest shore coast in the world, and the seawater rise would let us lose big portion of the delta, and this means that we have to develop projects in order to protect the delta.
So, sir, like just to expand on the idea that you just said, obviously climate change affects the situation when it comes to water security, but it also affects the situation of land security as well, given that there's talk about, the Arctics themselves having the icebergs there melting, and thus the sea levels are rising, which could essentially mean that cities will not exist in the future. Do you think that this is also part of the discussion when it comes to Water Week?
Sure. Actually, as I said, the main themes and the sub-themes of the water security open discussion. Every day we have one important topic, like the the green water for restoring the freshwater ecosystem, cooperative analysis of river basin scale adaptation, support to benefits of water management adaptation, improving early warning systems for severe water events, and the integration of water resources policies with national sustainable development vision. So every day we handle this tips, and experts from Egypt, from around the world, come together, discuss these issues, and they present showcases of what they have done on the ground to be safe against any expected or unexpected hits of the climate change.
Okay, sir, since this is part of the system when it comes to technology, like you're saying, early warning systems, but is there some way or form to create knowledge that could somehow, or studies that are available, to somehow understand the future water challenges that we may see maybe, say, 10 years down the line?
Yes, actually, I think this is a very good question. And number one, I think science and the technology, fortunately, is providing us with the tools and the know-how to deal with these severe events, and early warning systems using satellites, using images, using remote sensing, using models that predict the climate change in different geographical areas. All are outputs from research and the science and the technology during the last decade. And using them carefully and efficiently would save us from many damages that can happen due to climate change.
Okay, sir, what about the idea of preserving water? Like you were saying, part of preserving water is conserving the use of water, like not wasting water. But what other ways, when it comes to a macro aspect, can we preserve water security as a government entity, not necessarily just individually, on conserving water?
Okay, very good. This is another good question. Actually, we are looking for new resources, new water resources, and this will come mainly through reuse of water. In Egypt, we reuse water for about 4 times because we have limited amount of water. So either reuse of drainage, agricultural drainage water, or domestic treated domestic water, and we are recently established giant treatment plants to make available more drainage water for reuse. Also, desalination. Desalination is another technology that would help us turn saline seawater into usable, drinkable water. And these are two sources, new sources that add to the natural supply of the River Nile. And even they are making a significant contribution. The Nile flow remains the main source that we cannot live without it. Another new sources would be harvesting rain, not to let any drop of rain go away, but to harvest every drop of water, store it in and behind check dams, and let them replenish the groundwater.
Yes.
Also to reuse deep groundwater or brackish groundwater carefully and manage it in a proper way.
But sir, I mean, there's 2 questions that arise from what you just said. Firstly is the idea of desalination. It may be feasible or viable for certain countries, but then again, the more developed or poorer countries are more, possibly are more vulnerable to droughts, who may not be able to perform such expensive tools or have expensive tools like desalination. It's a very expensive process. How can the collective community of the world handle the situation?
This is, again, another good question. And actually, the other methods of developing water resources is usable for even small communities. When you talk about water harvesting, even small amount of rainfall, they can be carefully collected, stored, and used either for small agriculture or for raising cattle that even in desert area. Today, actually, in this particular day, we have seen from around the Arab region several practical interventions to use water harvesting in this way. Also,
Yes.
we have discussed today the sustainable reuse of drainage water and wastewater and all the enabling environment to make it sustainable.
Okay, sir, when we're talking about water harvesting, does this also include the idea of cloud seeding that some developed nations have taken part in? Is this also a possibility or a solution for water scarcity?
Well, it is still in the stage of idea, a good idea, and there are some trials in some countries, but has not yet proven to be a reliable source. We know that there is moisture in the atmosphere, but to collect it and let it drop in a specific geographical location is not yet developed or not yet became a fact. So it is in the investigation and the study stage.
What about the idea, sir? You spoke about early warning systems, but we've seen in the past, very recent past, for instance, in Libya, that the reason that the number of people that died there because of the flooding, the flash floods, was simply that the warning systems did not exist. How can countries who are suffering, for instance, when it comes to development or underdeveloped equipment, deal with the situation? Will there be discussions, for instance, when it comes to developed countries providing assistance to these other countries so that they can create their own early warning systems?
Okay, that is, well, in such cases, actually, we don't wait until we develop a sophisticated means to monitor and observe severe events. Actually, the situation in Libya was outcome of two things. Number one is heavy rain, torrential rain, and the second one is poor maintenance of the infrastructure. So this brings us to issue that whatever we do as infrastructure to protect ourselves, unless there are strong institutional arrangements to maintain those structures and keep them in a safe way, that is, they will not do the right job. Second thing, we can establish ground observation points showing the rain measurement instruments to determine how many inches of rain fallen, and there are simple tools to calculate how much will be the runoff or the water that will run on the ground due to this amount of rain. So all possibilities are there, and the science provide us with such tools.
Sir, what about the idea of raising, I mean, part of the issue is not just on a macro level, but also on the individual level, as you had highlighted earlier. How can we raise awareness when it comes to the individual to rationalize the water consumption?
I believe this is a very good question again. Number one, we have how we can reach outreach the community or the public. I think media comes as the first tool that tells the stories and made them in a simple language that everybody can understand. Schools and education programs are important tools also to describe. Now people hear about climate change. They cannot understand what the reason, how they happen, how what will be the damage, except with some cases like the one happened in Libya or the floods in China or India. This we can use as a demonstration tools to people to understand, see how the damage could be. Also, the religion infrastructure, whether churches or mosques, also our religious people have to be also educated and to transfer the ideas to the people. So we have many versatile tools in order to raise awareness among the public.
Sir, do you believe that maybe given the possibilities of an increased scarcity of water resources in the future, could there be a point in time where certain countries, for instance, may ration the use of water for individuals?
Say again?
I mean, given the fact that water resources may be an issue in the future due to climate change, do you believe that certain countries or some countries may want to rationalize or provide rations for individuals when it comes to water use?
Okay, let me tell you that water scarcity already exists in the Arab region. There are 14 or 15 countries beyond the limit of water poverty. And for example, if we take the case of Jordan, Jordan have water per capita is about 100 cubic meter in a year, and they have already rationalized use of water and put very strict control on the use of groundwater. Especially they have little amount of surface water because they have a problem of their shared water resources with the neighbors who have stolen their water and this is again one opportunity that the politics and conflicts between countries could be a reason to create a problem, not only climate change.
Okay, Dr. Safwat Dayem, a professor of water resources at the National Institute for Water Resources. Thank you so much for joining us and telling us a bit about the Cairo Water Week. And we're going to take a very short break and then move on with the rest of the episode.